Started. We're back with another episode of the
Back.
Matinade. Thank you for the support on the first video, but like I said, we wanted to cover all esports, so today's video is going to be covering some Halo news. We wanted to cover the roster changes. We wanted to talk about the year 3 changes that Tashi posted, and we got to talk about not the rumored rosters, but the top 4 rosters. And I think we want to start off with the juiciest one, which was, APG being dropped. APG being dropped. I mean, I think we're gonna just be honest on this. One thing about I'll speak. I even speak for Ant. One thing, we're very passionate about esports, and I hope that came
I'm
across
straight.
in that first video. But one thing I want to say is that we're gonna be a real. One thing I think is missing from the esports scene is honesty. Me and Anthony talk about it all the time. There's no honest opinions on rosters and what is going to happen moving forward in a year. And I think this space, the Matinade, which also, by the way, Matinade, early movie. Nade is a common esports thing. Matinade. But we're just gonna be honest, on a sports show, because I think that let's be honest. Let's talk about that. There's no real sports takes, and like in the esports scene, like it's because everybody wants to be friends and buddy, but it's like we're outside the scene, so we don't have any allegiance to anyone, so we can just be honest and be like, hey, that roster isn't gonna do anything. So with all that said, let's talk about APG being dropped. You take it away.
So, in my opinion, I don't think APG was the real issue. I mean, I get what they're doing. They're dropping APG because they need to keep up with FaZe, which I agree with. You have to look at FaZe as the team to keep up with. But when I watched Optic, and we've talked about this, when they won, it was because of APG and it was because of Trippy. It was never Lucid going off. Like, yeah, he is always going off. So you can say, like, oh, he's always going off. Like, how much harder can he go? But, like, when they won, the people that really brought them to that level were APG and it was Trippy. And so obviously APG is going to be the odd man out because they're not going to drop Formal, and Trippy's best friends with Lucid. So obviously it's APG, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I just think, I don't know, the upgrade they made with Penguin or Dead Zone, my bad.
Let's load it up. I got the tweet loaded up.
Load it up.
Welcome Dead Zone to Optic. Let's keep going. You're spitting right now. I mean, that duo between Trippy and APG. Let me just interject real quick. They played off each other.
They did.
That duo of aggression.
Yeah.
Because let's get it straight here. Lucid and Formal were the slower form.
Yeah.
Yes, Trippy. Listen, when they are Lucid, when they go to Lucid's screen, we gotta pay attention. APG's dead. Or Trippy's coming off respawn, and then you'll see a Lucid with a power weapon getting involved. At the end, it's like APG's getting them weak. Let's not get this narrative twisted that APG wasn't doing. I think it's considered the same role as like the entry sub. For as long as you can put up a .9 as an entry sub in Call of Duty, you're doing your job. And APG was doing that. He was putting up .9s. Listen, man, he's the first one in. He's getting them. He's getting 2 players weak. And then guess who's getting that double kill? Lucid or Trippy. And then Lucid's coming in with the sniper. And then Formal's playing the Royal 2 role of Royal 2's the last guy in, and then they rotate when Royal 2's the first one in. Then you see Snakebite flying in, But speak to it. What do you think about Dead Zone coming in? Dead Zone. Get it right.
First of all, I gotta just say, that name is just not it.
Yeah, I mean the community's been,
Hey, I feel like everyone agrees. It's just
they're just let it rock. They're just
we'll let you rock, we'll yuck. I just don't think. See, my issue with them, with Optic in general, was I don't think they play with the pace that
Yeah,
FaZe does.
yeah,
And you have Bandits coming. Bandits play more to fast pace. Like you can't map people with a bandit. And that's what I think what like kept teams at a slower pace
yeah, for
was the
sure.
BR.
Yeah,
Because like you'd hold them down from longer lines of sight so they couldn't move as like fast and strategically. So now with the bandit, you can be creeping around, moving quick as hell. And I don't think Penguin ups their pace like you said. Formal and Lucid play slower. Like that's not going to change by you bringing
yeah,
in Dead Zone.
yeah.
I
Dead
keep
zone.
saying Penguin.
Yeah. It's just not
Yeah, I
though.
don't. Yeah,
It's really not, and I think that's not upping the tempo. And then hold
yeah,
on, let's talk about while we're talking about tempo, and let me pull up the. I kind of want to go right into the native era team because we're talking about
yeah,
APGs because we got Micwin Collect, APG, and Neptune. I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, we're gonna be talking about the top three teams because we're gonna get to SSG in a minute. Because we're
yeah,
talking about Dead Zone, but I gotta be honest. I think this roster potential, right? We don't know. Collect has
yeah,
been getting. Let's just be honest. Collect has been getting kind of screwed with the teams and the rosters. He's
yeah,
by far a cut and above. I mean, but this is a roster now that we're gonna see him shine. I think he's
agreed.
finally, and I think it all depends on Neptune. Right? It really
Yeah,
does depend on if Neptune can be that player. But I think really hot take. I think the pace this team can play at can best the new Optic roster. I'm being so for real. I think when Neptune played in H5,
yeah,
he was on straight ripping. He was playing with Ace. He was playing with APG.
yeah,
And on that Renegades roster, he or no, that Renegade. No, that was Neptune, and then that was Neptune. Then I think Renegade was in there in the mix or whatever. But Neptune was playing at a pace. He was one of the highest slayers, and that was as a
yeah,
rookie. I think if he can
yeah,
adapt to this game with Bandit Starts, which is just like H5, which is what you're talking about, they could pick that pace up. This could be a fast team, and
yeah.
like you're saying with the pace, you're gonna have bounds and. Like
That's what I'm saying.
this pace is the game's not slowing down.
It's getting quicker,
And
and
I
that's
mean,
what
you
we're
speak
saying.
to it. What is your opinion on this?
That's what we're
This
saying. Like
native white, right? Native or just native roster? What do you think?
I think honestly, since like we're talking about the top teams, like they can be like a top 4 or 5
Yeah, they
team.
could. Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't see
Sentinels is still
them.
there.
Yeah, same with Sentinels. They're in like the same category, and we gotta get to
Yeah,
Sentinels in a second.
we'll get there.
But I do like the APG. What is it? APG, Neptune,
Yep.
Micwin, and
Collect.
Collect.
Yep.
I love that. I don't know about Micwin. He has been playing decent like so
Yeah,
far in year
it's been
two, so we'll
decent.
see. Yeah, like he's not like Micwin from
Yeah,
H5,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he's still good enough. So
I think that is a big X factor.
I see them feeling almost like that the old native red, the KCP
Yeah, the
team, like the
KCPT.
Talic, Soul Snipe them.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
they're gonna fill that team role now,
Which is a
where
great
they're like
roster.
consist. Yeah, it is a good roster, and they're gonna fill the consistent like top 4, like maybe surprise with a top 3 or top 2. I just think with Bandit starts, you're gonna have to get FaZe
Yeah,
so off their game
yeah.
to beat them. Because we saw when they are playing at their pace and their game, they're
I mean, they
unstoppable.
4-0'd Optic in the
They're
reset.
unstoppable.
And
Like
let's
that's not a fluke.
and
I'm
hold
sorry,
on,
that's
let's get
not
it
a
right
fluke.
too. They low key should have 4-1'd them
Yeah,
in that first because they
they
won
trolled it.
4-2. They won 4-2 in
Yeah,
the
they trolled
first.
it.
They trolled that one game.
They trolled the
Came
Slayers.
the Slayer, and then came back and then
Went
just
crazy.
and listen and FaZe. I know we're glazing, but FaZe. Let's be honest, but FaZe sucked the air out of the room with
Yo,
that
they
first
really
game.
did.
It was
Every Optic
250.
fan knew it.
It was
They're like,
250 to
yo,
10 or whatever. It was like the
yeah.
other, and everybody was like, they're here. This is
I remember.
the team
Yeah,
we knew
yeah.
was going to come, and then they came on that reverse. On the second best of 7, and everybody was like, "Well,
This
it's
is a wrap.
over. It's over." Everybody kind of knew it, and
I
And that's why I said that, the matinee's going to be honest. We're not going to lie. Like, why? I get it. There's, people want to clickbait for views and want to say these opinions. But, like, at the end of the day, is anyone beating FaZe in 2 best of 5s? Or hypothetically, if they go to the losers, are they beating them again? Like, if they send them down to losers and they match up with them again, are they beating them twice? Or let alone, are they beating them twice in grand finals?
Bro, I just feel
7 times?
Yeah. I feel like they're, like, now, especially with Bandits now, like, you saw it with the BR. When they're on, you're not touching them.
No.
Like, you can't keep up. It's just, it's literally too much.
It's
like,
too much.
You have to have the exact same type of roster. And that's where, going back to the optic, like, I don't see how Dead Zone, like, makes them think that's taking them to that level. And it's even proof that they don't believe that either, because they tried to get Stellar first.
Now let's go into it. Let's talk about it.
Everyone's lying. They said, oh, this roster can keep up. Like, they don't believe that. They tried Stellar first. That's who they wanted. That can keep up.
And then look, Stellar wanted to go too. Stellar wanted to go too, and now they got, let's talk about it, they got Legend. And
this is so, we don't know, but I will say
the question marks. It's too many question marks, because at the end of the day, Quadrant was good.
Yeah,
were they great? No. And that's when we're talking about the FaZe and the optic. Yeah, they kept beating optic, but that's because it goes back to the pace thing. Optic sometimes struggled to adapt to pace because APG was always playing fast. And if Trippy wasn't also, because I felt like there, you have Lucid in the comms, let's slow down. But then APG's like, it felt like they couldn't, and I know they mesh, and I'm not trying to say that I know their comms, but it never felt like they were always on the same pace. Yes, they moved together around the map, but that turtle up Ryan Noob gameplay doesn't work when somebody's flying at you. And Quadrant was able to do that. But when Quadrant played a FaZe, they got beat down.
Yeah.
They got beat down. And same when they played SSG. I think they took SSG to maybe a game 4 or 5, maybe once in all the year, but then that was it. I think they beat them once, but I could be wrong. Maybe in an open event, along the way. But they pick up Legend, who, if on a team, which granted I know it's a team game, but is he really what is going to take them to that next level? Then you got to bring in that team chem. Stellar wanted to leave. Then you got to also bring that in. Dead Zone wasn't the first choice.
Yeah.
But FaZe knows we're here chilling.
FaZe just chilling. They got no issues. But now, speaking on SSG, when I watched Quadrant play, like, Legend definitely stood out. Him and, was it SLG was the other one?
Do I have that?
That, like, really was, like, frying and, like, going crazy.
I do not have that.
I feel like Legend will definitely bring that speed to play alongside Bound and Stellar. And I feel like, I don't know, I can't, like, buy in fully, because to me it almost feels like they didn't really know who else to get.
That's what it feels like.
There really wasn't anybody of the caliber they could get. So it almost feels like they know they're just gambling.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, part of me just wants to trust Eco, because I think he's the best IGL in the game. And, like, if he wants Legend and he thinks he will help them, I'm inclined
you're right.
think he probably will.
I think you're 100% right. I think, Eco, like, we sing Eco's praises. I think, like we said, Eco is one of the best IGL in all of esports for what he's able to do with bringing Bound along. From Bound from the beginning of the year to Bound to now is 2 different players. He used to be like 17 deaths, just sprinting, and then now he's literally he's a night and day player. It's insane what he's able to do, and I think that brings us to the Sentinels. I think they should have made a change, and I think Sentinels were good. I think they are a top 4 team, like you said. They're definitely in that top 5, that mix. But I think when that APG, Neptune and all the collects were making, their changes, I think Sentinels should have gotten the mix there. I mean, I love the trio of. I just got to be honest. I think Lethal. We just got to be honest on the Matinade.
I don't know. Lethal will be like bang average, and then he'll like make some crazy plays, have like a really good game. Like he played FaZe really well.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's
obviously,
listen, he's my GOAT. He
yeah,
is my GOAT. We love Lethal. It's not disrespect, but
end of career. It's on. It happens to everybody. Every
happens
sport,
to
end of career. Like you just fall off. It's just natural.
And I get it.
I
Maybe
just
the
feel
Bandit
like they
starts.
can upgrade.
I think they could have
Yeah,
upgraded.
maybe.
But I honestly think even APG would have been better on that Sentinels roster moving forward.
Yeah,
I think what we've seen out of APG, man, there's no doubt in my mind this guy is not a top 10 player in the game. Maybe not top 10. Yeah, again, top 10, nah, that's too hard. I mean, you got all of SSG and majority Optic and FaZe. So maybe, but he's still top 15. But I just think
someone you want.
Yeah, someone you want, and he's one of your first. I just feel like Sentinels should have make a change, which we've been talking about Bandit Stars. So let's go right into, the last segment here is Tashi keeps talking about the year 3 changes that we're expected to see. He says the changes we're going to have is some small changes on, the weapon racks, because that was one big issue, prior to this was that there was nonstop weapons on the map. And that's something we used to complain about all the time. They're making changes to all the maps. And then, the biggest thing is, and then, we're going to have the roadmap by the end of the year or by the end of the month. But the biggest change we keep talking about is Bandit Starts. And, with these maps, which I'll let Anthony take over because he talks about how the maps didn't work with the BR. And now, with the Bandit Starts, the gameplay is drastically different on these maps.
Yeah.
It's... Anthony, you can take over. I'll let you have it, but it's drastically different, and this is why we said we're not trying to gas FaZe up to the moon, but this now suits... It's just fitting right into their, their play style, and teams are... I don't know what they're going to do. So you got it.
I just feel like anybody that excelled in H5 and any team that plays with the pace is now going to take it up an extra tier. Like I remember when they announced Bandit Starts, I think it was the Native Red team, like the Manny that at the time, even though they disbanded.
Yeah.
At the time they said like, oh, we about to turn up, like y'all don't remember H5. Like their players know how drastic of a change this is about to be. And when you're watching the gameplay, and I'm gonna go back and speak on Optic for this. The way that Optic was able to win was by controlling the pace. When they were unable to control it and keep a team slowed down, like you said with Quadrant they couldn't contain Quadrant. That's why Quadrant could beat them. Like they could never slow it down to the degree they needed to. They could sometimes do it to SSG, sometimes do it to FaZe. Obviously, they won World Champs in Season 1, and they were able to do it then. But with Bandits, the way you can't map people, the way you can actually move, and with the slide, getting around the maps is going to be so much easier, so much quicker. These teams are going to be flying, and you will not have the opportunity to control the pace that you did before. Like that split second that you would take to control it is now gone because you can't like contain them at a far distance. They're going to be up in your face too quick.
Now especially with the movement and the ability to outplay somebody, like in Bandits, I mean, with BR Starts, you were half shields before you moved barely any distance.
Exactly.
Now it's like I can take a shot and still push up and get some more damage in. I can shoot back now. You couldn't really shoot back as much with the BR. Now that gap's going to be closed. People are going to be flying up the map. People are going to be in your face. Now with the the 5-shot ability, we're going to see plays being made, and now it's going to go down to just straight raw skill in a sense.
Yeah.
Like strat is going to be there for sure, but
it always will be.
It's going to go down to this raw gameplay, and then with less power weapons being used,
that too.
Less power weapons being on the map, or how about this, at a time, because that was an issue with Streets, which they need to get rid of. Streets, Suma, Rockets, Bulldog, Stalker, and it just felt like non-stop. But now it's like, hey, we're gonna put a limit on this. It's gonna play, a factor. And listen, we're gonna be covering it all. Once the video, or once the roadmap gets leaked, and we see, actually, we're gonna cover. I completely forgot. There's a Phase 6K online this
On
Sunday. We will do a results video. We will maybe do some gameplay from that, and let's see if our prediction. Let's see if FaZe wins that right away. I don't know if all the teams are competing in it, but we'll put a video out. We'll talk about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything. See what the Bandit starts really brought online, and we'll just see. And they're going to be hungry to play it. It already, I think, filled up. They're excited to play it. They're ready to prove. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Anthony, is there anything else that we not cover that we need to?
I just wanna talk on the power weapons. With what Tashi said, I don't know what exactly they're going to be taking off the maps, but they already took off the what's the laser beam called?
Sentinel.
I call it the lucid beam because he always using it. He always Sentinel beam. Sentinel beam. They already took the Sentinel beam off. Like, with all these power weapons being taken off certain maps, the timings of them being taken off, that just plays into the teams that play with pace. Because
they're not waiting for these power weapons.
They're not waiting. They're not slowing down to play for a weapon. They're still flying. And without the power weapon to control more of the map, control more of the pace, if you're not keeping up,
we're just being honest. We're just going to be honest on the matinade. I think that's it for this Halo video. If there's any other topics or questions or concerns you want us to cover with Halo, we'll cover some more. But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. To Twitter, to the YouTube. Yes, absolutely. Appreciate all the love on the first video, and we'll see you in the next. All right.
Peace.
Peace.